Hello everyone, this is Jim McCormick, and for this week 6 WIMBA presentation, just want to go over some things that help you out with your skills assignment for this week, preparing a budget, as you get used to working with Microsoft Excel. So I will go ahead and pop open my Excel program and make it available on my screen. As you can see here, Excel composed of lots of little squares that we can put in numbers or words for labels, etc. And so I'll go over some of those different types of things that you'll be doing this week in your assignment. So first thing I'll do, I'm just going to put in like a little headline up here in cell A1, and you can always tell what cell you got selected by the black outline around it. So I'm going to put in like weekly car sales. All right, and I'm going to put my name down below. And next thing I'll do is I'm going to do a little font changing. So I'm going to select these two, and I'm going to change this from Calibri. And I think I'll make this Cambria just a little bit different. And then I'm going to bold both of them. So you can see I can do multiple cells at the same time with formatting if I want the cells formatted the same way. Some other things I can do, I put some background color in here, so I can go maybe like a light blue behind the color. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that initially when you type in a label that's longer than the actual cell, it'll go off into the other cells to the right. You can always increase the width of your column by double-clicking on the right edge of the column or clicking and dragging out manually. So I can do that and actually make that column look a little better. So there I go there. Another thing I'm going to do a merge and center. A merge and center is done to kind of combine cells into one big cell. And if you got like a little title that you've got above like information in your Excel spreadsheet, it'll just kind of center that title or subheading over the area where you got a lot of your work in. So I'm going to click and select on cells A1 through, let's say, L1. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the Merge and Center button up here in the alignment area. So I get that nice and well centered. I'm going to do the same thing with my name. And I'm going to make my big title actually a little bigger font size. So I'm going to make that like 16 point size, and that'll look pretty good to me right now. All right, now I'm going to work on some labels. And one thing with Excel, there's like some pre-done lists in Excel. So you can start actually a series, which would be like a series of numbers or like days of the week labels. And you can see as I click and drag across, it's putting in this series of days for me right here. So I'm going to put in Monday through Friday. And to do that again, you just go to the lower right corner, and I click and hold down on my left mouse button, and then drag across. And let me see, I'm going to put in some names over here. All right. And now I'm just going to put in some numbers, how many cars they sold each day. So let's take me just a few more moments. All right, so I've got some numbers in here representing my numbers of cars sold for each day for each salesperson. And I'll put a little label over here, call it salesperson. I'm going to go ahead and bold these top row labels. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to center these. So once I have all these cells selected, I still do. I have my center button right here, center line. And it's going to widen out a couple of those columns. All right, now I'm going to put in some formulas. So formulas, to add up some things that you have on your sheet, maybe subtract or multiply, divide, what have you. So I want to do a formula here that add up the numbers for a number of cars sold for Monday. So formulas in Excel always start with an equal sign. So I'm going to say equals I'm going to use a sum function, parentheses, and then you can use the cell range, or you type in your cell range, which would be B6:B9, or you click and drag out that range. And you can see Excel automatically put in that range, and I just hit enter. And I've got my formula slotted in. So now at this point, what I will do is I'm going to copy this formula across. So these are all what we call relative cell references. And if I go to this lower right-hand corner, get my crosshair symbol, I'm going to click and drag across. And it'll go ahead and adjust that formula for each column I'm copying the formula into. So now you see for C10 for the formula for Tuesday, it's saying equals sum C6:C9. And so on for each day of the week, adjusting over one column to the right. So I get to my right formula in there. So things are looking good there. I will put in a totals column here. And I'm going to put in another formula to basically total up my cars going across each row for each person. And so the same idea, equals sum, colon. I'll click and drag out those cells. Now I could have done this formula another way. I could have said equals, and I could have said B6 plus C6 plus D6 plus E6 plus F6, but that's kind of a laborious way of creating the formula. So I think using the functions when you can is always the best way to go. And again, I'm going to copy this formula down. All right, so I got some nice numbers here set up. And now if I wanted to now, might be a good time to perhaps go ahead and create a chart based on this information. So a chart's always nice to be able to see visually the information that you've got on your Excel worksheet. And the nice thing about Excel is you can go ahead and really tell it what you want in that chart, and then you can go ahead and select that information. So when you create a chart, you want to make sure you select what you want to have charted first. And so I'm going to do a chart based on the names of the salespeople and then their totals. So I'm going to select the salespeople's names first, like that. And I'm going to hold down my control key because now I have to select their totals over here on the right-hand side. So now I've got two different columns of information selected. They're not touching, so that's why I have to hold down the control key. I'm now going to come up and click on Insert. And I'm going to go with pie chart. It's going to go with a basic pie chart. And there's my chart, so I'm going to move it down a little bit. And you can see now I've got a nice little chart created here with this information. So I've got my legend right here. It shows it by color a code for each person. So that's kind of a nice little option there. And you know, you can resize your charts if you want to. So I can make this a little bit bigger. The other thing, if you want, you can go ahead and when you click on the Layout tab up here, you've got a lot of different options for how you can kind of adjust things as you're working with your chart. So you can like change a legend position if you want to. You can work with labels if you want to in your chart. So a lot of different options, and I'm not going to play around with all these right now. But the best thing to do is to kind of just experiment with your chart. And as you deselect or click somewhere else on your worksheet, I just want to show that the chart design tab up here disappears. So once you click on the chart itself, you get this little design tab up here. You get the layout tab, which allows you to kind of make some changes, modifications to your chart. And then lastly, you've got your format tab. So look at the colors, styles, etc. of the chart. I think I'll go back here and I'll just make one little change here to my legend, and I'll show legend at the top. So now I just made a change to my legend, so now it's showing at the top. So I just want to show you how easy it is to do that. And then I'll make that modification change to the left. So you got some nice flexibility how you can work with this as you're dealing with it. Oh, yeah, and one last thing, maybe I'll try to put in a little I was putting some labels, so now it's representing the numbers by pi slices itself. So now you know that Mark actually, or Sue actually had 17, and that's showing actual pi slice. So that's data labels. So again, a lot of different options for how you can work with your information once you actually get your chart created. And I just put them outside the pi slices. So whatever your preference is, you can go ahead and modify that accordingly to what you think will work best. So I hope you enjoyed this little video to help work with you to get a little bit familiar with the Excel process and how you can work with Excel to do a lot of different things. If you have any questions this week, please contact me, and hope you have a good week 6. Thanks.